What's going on, YouTube? My name is Lucas, and today we're going to be talking about Lordstown Motors. And the reason is because, well, ladies and gentlemen, are they going out of business? This is some epic news coming yesterday, bleeding into today, and I really think that this is a significant piece because a lot of people really put a lot of effort into Lordstown Motors. Obviously, we understand that they do have a deal with Workhorse, so that could also play their hand in Workhorse as well. I mean, there really is a lot going on here. As we see the electric vehicle movement starting to occur, you know, is Lordstown Motors going to be able to compete? Are they even going to be able to survive as a business? That's actually what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to kind of dive in, do some definitely digging up on this company, and see if it is still even worth being a part of, in all honesty. So if you're interested in Lordstown Motors, I suggest you stay tuned right after this. But before we dive in, start talking about Lordstown Motors, potentially General Motors, we start talking a little bit of Workhorse, and we find out about what is going on with this company, I ask that you guys smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, comment down below, and now it's time to get into the video. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump out the gate and just be honest with you. I've done a ton of videos. I was very bullish on this company, still am very bullish on the idea of what the Endurance is about. You know, the everyday worker. I like the truck. I think it really provides a need. You know, I think that there really is a good reason to try to continue on with this company. I think that there's just a lot going on. Obviously, this company was put under a microscope when we find out they don't have orders like they were predicting or projecting to have. We really start to see some things being pulled back, whether it is pandemic related or not. It is the fact that some of this stuff was forged. I think that really, when you created that mindset, a ton of microscopes come in and they continuously examine to make sure that you're checking off the list, you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, and doing everything you need to do. You know, we understand that there was an announcement that they were going to be doing some partnership aspects with Camping World. That was extremely cool. They had a big, PR setup for that. So I do think that there are some things going on. It's just the fact that this is an electric vehicle, and this is something that is new to a lot of people. There's still so many people out there, ladies and gentlemen, who drive gas vehicles, and they're going to continue to drive gas vehicles until they can't no more. I do think that they do have a long way to go. But the reason why I wanted to create this video also is because I want to provide maybe some potential options if they do continue to struggle, because I don't think this company itself completely disappears. And so I really kind of wanted to talk about that too. So let's jump into this. Lordstown shares reverse losses after the company says it is in talks for additional funds. So on June 8th, right towards the end of the trading day, breaking news comes on, and they're stating that they may not even make it all the way through the rest of the year. They're not meeting the needs, and this thing may just start to sink. Obviously, that in translation causes the stock price to sink. So continuing on, it says Lordstown Motors shares rallied to positive territory on Wednesday afternoon after the electric truck maker said it was in talks with multiple parties to raise funds. Hopefully they kind of crack into that, because I'd be interested if one of them is General Motors and maybe even Camping World. The disclosure came a day after Lordstown warned in a U.S. regulatory filing that there was substantial doubt about its ability to continue as a going concern in the next year due to problems in funding production of its vehicles. So we understand that Lordstown Motors has a plant in Ohio. They basically have this monster plant that used to be GM, where they manufactured the Chevy Cruze. So they do have everything that they need. It's just the production isn't there yet, ladies and gentlemen. Shares of Lordstown ended the Wednesday trading session flat. Earlier in the day, they plunged as much as 20% as investors awoke to a vastly different financial picture than Lordstown faced last August when it announced it would go public through a reverse merger with a blank check company. We do know that Lordstown did choose the SPAC route, and a lot of SPACs really haven't been doing that good as well. Not that that really has an effect on the current state because they are no more of a SPAC. They are their own company, but that's just, something that's going on as well. Lordstown in Wednesday's statement reaffirmed it has adequate capital to continue operations, meet supplier obligations, and begin limited production, but will need to raise additional funds as it was in talks to do that. Now, anything that they state at this point moving forward has to be taken with a grain of salt because we did believe that they had a ton of orders, which really caused this stock price to go in the upward direction because of the news that they had a massive amount. I believe it was over 100,000 orders. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. I'm just going to be real now. We are debt free, have significant tangible assets and multiple viable avenues to raise capital, including asset-backed financing, equity related, or debt financing loans, as well as potential strategic investments over the longer term. The company said, we are already in active conversations with multiple parties to do so. Last month, Chief Executive Steve Burns on earnings conference calls said the Ohio company needed more capital to launch its Endurance pickup truck, and production this year would be half of prior expectations. Lordstown's situation has raised doubts about forecasts the company made on August 3rd, 2020, when it announced its deal to go public through a reverse merger with the special purpose acquisition company SPAC, Diamond Peak Holdings. The deal closed in October. In March, Lordstown shares slumped after Heidenberg Research disclosed it had taken a short position on the stock, saying the company had misled consumers and investors on demand for its vehicles. Short sellers bet the price of the stock would fall by borrowing and selling shares in the hope of buying them back at a cheaper price and pocketing the difference. Some of that stuff actually could have been true. I do believe some of that. I didn't really dive in too much into Heidenberg's accusations, but I do believe that some of that was probably accurate. Lordstown subsequently said the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission had asked for information related to its SPAC merger and pre-orders of its vehicles. Burns says Lordstown was cooperating with the investigation. SEC officials did not respond to the request for comment on Wednesday. The company is also facing class action stemming from the Heidenberg report, which, this is getting a little interesting, ladies and gentlemen. On Wednesday, Heidenberg founder Nathan Anderson said in an email after months of denials and obfuscations, Lordstown is finally beginning to acknowledge its precarious financial state and its unrealistic production projections. RBC Capital Markets analyst Joseph Spack initiated coverage on Tuesday of Lordstown with an underperform rating and a $5 price target. He believes Lordstown will need an additional $2.25 billion in capital through 2025 to remain solvent and will not break even until 2025, 3 years after the company's projections. That's very, very interesting, and that right there alone, ladies and gentlemen, is an eye-opener. It really is. It's just an unfortunate circumstance because we understand that this was going to be an amazing, amazing thing. And there's nothing that says it won't be, but these are definitely setbacks. If this was a pillar, if this was a tree, you definitely got some chunks taken out and you're about to fall over. You're about to go timber. You're getting pretty close. If you get a big gust of wind, look out below. Working on energy debt loan. In alerting investors last month it would need more money, Lordstown blamed COVID-19 and industry-wide related issues for higher spending on parts, shipping, and third-party engineering resources. Lordstown said options to raise money could include asset-backed financing and investments from strategic partners like other automakers. However, Burns, the company's largest shareholder, said Lordstown was not for sale. It might be. Lordstown also is hoping to close a deal with the U.S. Department of Energy for a $200 million loan to help pay for the cost of retooling its factory. Winning the approval of the energy officials could be key to assuming some investors' concerns, or really kind of shoring over investors' concerns. It says Lordstown has been touting the prospect of the loan since August, and Burns said last month he hopes to complete that process in the next few months. DOE officials declined to comment. Of course they would. When Lordstown announced the SPAC deal, it boasted its electric truck would be the first to market to serve commercial fleet customers. It has affirmed its September launch timeline, but the lower production forecast undercuts the head start Lordstown had on Ford Motor which will launch an electric version of its top-selling full-size pickup truck, the F-150 Lightning, next spring. At the time of the SPAC announcement, Lordstown said it had 27,000 pre-orders for the Endurance with $1.4 billion, and it subsequently raised that to a total of more than 100,000. So I was correct. After Heidenberg's report, Lordstown said that the orders were non-binding, and on Tuesday, it said it had no binding purchase orders. That right there is a deal breaker for me, ladies and gentlemen. When you state that you have over 100,000, and this is completely, basically falsified, as it says non-binding. Well, clearly none of that was non-binding. Nobody had an agreement with you, so you basically prefabricated 100,000 orders. Like I just don't think 100,000 orders, however many actual companies that is placing those orders, just all of a sudden and abruptly say, hey, you know what, we're just not going to do this. I find it very hard to believe that. Ford, which is aiming for the same commercial customers, said it has 70,000 reservations that require a $100 deposit for the truck. Lordstown said the Endurance will have a starting price of $52,500 before the federal EV tax incentive. The price for the Ford's F-150 Lightning will start at just under $40,000. So right there, you're getting a long time, vehicle manufacturer in Ford who's starting at a lower price for a Ford F-150 Lightning. Or you can go get an Endurance, which will be the first of its kind, for $52,500. So as you guys can see right there, there are some major concerns with this company. There are some very major concerns with being able to tell the truth, in my opinion. I think, I can, as a person who presents information to you through this platform, I can give you everything based on what is provided to me. But when I start to see falsifications, when I start to see fabrications in storytelling, basically, not a lot of stuff is true. That's where it becomes real for me, and that's where I want to make sure that I'm getting the proper information to you guys. I'm definitely looking for an opportunity to potentially get out of this company. The only reason why I'm thinking about kind of hanging on and just seeing what happens is because I do feel that there is a chance at some point another vehicle manufacturer, very similar like General Motors, could come along and swoop them up, take them under, because we understand General Motors had already owned the plant and they could easily use it again. I also think that General Motors has their hand in Lordstown as a stakeholder. So I do feel that there's a chance, if this does go south quick enough, that there's a chance that this could be something that is for sale, and we could see it end up in a big time, vehicle manufacturer's pocket. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be honest with you. Once I start seeing falsifications, once I start seeing, lying basically, hey, we have 100,000 orders, but none of them were binding. They were all non-binding. I'm not going to go for it. So we're getting ready to break down this chart. And now we've come to my favorite part of any video, and that's chart breaking down time. And this thing tells a lot. Swinging on over here, looking at RIDE, Lordstown Motors Corporation. So this is a 1 month chart. It opened today at $10.12. It got as high as $12.87. Its low was $8.89. Ladies and gentlemen, out the gate, this thing sank like a rock in the ocean. Volume was 69.06 million. Market cap currently is 1.983 billion. 52-week high is $31.80. I mean, that's what happens when you talk about 100,000 pre-orders. 52-week low is $6.69, and its average volume is 10.99 million. So today it did close at $11.23. How in the world it was up, I have no idea. 0.09%. But then in the after hours, it did plunge down 3.12%, wrapping out the day completely at $10.88. So like I said, you are looking at a 1 month chart, and the most significant piece of this entire chart is exactly what happened on June 8th, is the fact that they're talking about not being able to fundamentally and from a business standpoint, potentially even make it through the rest of the year into next year. Then they come out today and state that there's companies out there that could help them get through this. I think you see that significant drop, and you really seen this multiple times. where a lot of fabrication has been, revealed and things like that. It's a very unfortunate situation. And I personally hope that they pull this out. I would love to see Lordstown Motors be a successful vehicle company and continue to push out not only the Endurance, but maybe multiple vehicles down the road. It would just be very nice to see another company, a small company, come from, basically nothing and build up and become successful. But I think they have a long road ahead. As you guys saw, they were even talking about 2025 before this thing's even, becoming a positive company, and that's, a ways off. So very interesting. Gonna keep my eye on this one for sure. I am still a shareholder, and so yeah, I'm definitely gonna see how this one plays out. So I definitely want to provide a video to you guys. I appreciate you swinging by and checking out this video on Lordstown Motors. Hopefully I can say this won't be the last video on this company, and hopefully we can continue to have a little bit more positive news and maybe rebound from this absolute epic failure as of right now. I do want to remind you guys, I am not a financial advisor, and anything I say in this video is for pure entertainment purposes only, and that's exactly what I'm here to do, is entertain. And I do want to thank you guys so much for coming by and checking out this video. It means a ton. It really does. You guys know how I do it. If you like this video, smash that like button. It helps out tremendously. And if you enjoy the content, because I'm going to keep the content flowing, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, have a good day.